Divine beings. I hope y'all are doing well. I am doing well on this beautiful sunny day where I am located. Yesterday was a challenging day, but I got through it. Excuse me. How rude of me to start yawning, and I just got started. I'm a little tired, but other than that, I'm doing good. Another day. And I am this is one of those days where I feel like every day's like that for me, where I'm just in heavy thought about so many things. There's so many thoughts going on, and I'm just trying to keep all of my thoughts where they need to be kept, if that makes sense. Keeping myself emotionally regulated and mentally regulated and sane, so that I can continue on and do the things that I need to do on a day-to-day. Everything is just, there's a lot to do. If you was to look at my windshield on my truck, it's like there's so many notes here. I have up here, it's not even, I think what I was going to say is one note, no, it's not even any quotes up there. They're just, they're all notes of what I need to do. But I apologize for my voice. It may be a little bit raspy because I am exhausted. So I definitely need to try to get a little bit more sleep this week if I can. And I'm going to go ahead and kind of close this door because I have a fly spy harassing me today. And it's the same one, and it won't go away. So we're going to close the door. It's going to get warm, but by the time I'm done speaking and checking in with you all, I should be good. So again, I apologize. My exhaustive what is the word that I want to say? Appearance. There we go. And it's when you're tired, it's hard to find the words to say. It's hard to get them out of your mouth, for the mechanics of your mouth to formulate the words, to put it all together. But I hope you guys are doing well on this beautiful day, night, evening, afternoon. And that you are making some progress on your healing journey. And if you had to take a pause, that pause is allowing you to reflect in a way that will allow you to be able to resume your healing journey to where you feel like you will be able to check off one of the things on your list that you placed on as something that you need to look into and heal, right? But yes, today I wanted to talk about the fragmented soul. Feeling a bit fragmented today, so I believe that's why I felt 344 as I said that. So I feel like that is why we are going to be discussing this today. Yes, I have my hat back on. The video before this one, I'd taken it off. Well, I didn't take it off. I forgot it because, I was running behind. And per usual, always usually running behind. Because I've heard of this term called time blind, and I was like, I resonate with time blindedness, because I definitely must be time blind, because I don't like time. I feel like it is not something that works in my favor. Some people say that they feel like they can make time work in their favor, but I'm not one of those. I'm always dragging and lagging behind, and it's because I'm exhausted. Like I said, with my healing process, it's been a lot, but I'm making progress. And, the time blindness just makes sense because it's like I see time, but it's like a 446 as I'm speaking. But it's like I don't abide by it. I have to, because I have to be at work at a certain time. I'm still in the matrix and working literally 9 to 5. That is my schedule, 9 to 5. So it's like, the time is going. I see it ticking on my watch when I'm on my phone, going on when I'm checking it, but it's like, whatever. I have this mindset, like, I feel like I've had it for years, if not all of my life. But like I said, all of my life, I've struggled to be on time when I'm having to be somewhere at a certain time. And it's like, I'm so much older now, and it's like, dang, you still ain't got that together? I feel like it's one of those things I'll never have together. And I'm not trying to be negative. It's just that that's not my thing. Like, just rushing to beat the clock, like, I'm just like, okay, if that's just not going to pan out the way I need to for me to be able to abide by time's rules and be at a certain place at a certain time, I think that I just need to really disconnect from whatever is keeping me beholden to needing to follow a time schedule. Like, just create my own schedule to where, I can abide by my own time rules. But here again, that may be something I need to add to my list. And I'm not closing my mind off to that. If I need to work on being on time, being punctual, right? Because there are some things we are going to need to be on time for. But I just feel like there's like a select group of us that we are unable to abide by time. Time is just not something that is on our side. And I just don't feel that naturally we're supposed to roll with that program. So anyway, I digress, but I hope that in time, as we're talking about time, that you all can accomplish your healing goals along your journey. And again, I always say it's a process, one day at a time, right? So we're going to talk about the fragmented soul today. I'm definitely resonating with this heavily. I wonder if a lot of you will resonate with this as well. So let's get into it. The fragmented soul. What is a fragmented soul? A fragmented soul, I hope the volume is high enough because I didn't check it before I got started, but generally it is. But a fragmented soul refers to the psychological or spiritual splitting of a person's inner self, usually caused by intense trauma, prolonged stress, or deep emotional pain. It is the sensation that parts of your core essence, memory, or vitality have broken off, leaving you feeling dissociated, incomplete, or chronically, I think that says, chronically scattered. Sometimes I can't read my own handwriting. Psychological perspective. Let's delve into this. In psychology, fragmentation is often described as dissociation. Now, I'm going to break down the word dissociation. A dissociation is a separation or disconnection between things that are normally connected. Okay? When faced with overwhelming events, especially in childhood, the psyche splits off into different parts to protect itself. Okay? So let's dig into the mechanism. One part of you may carry the trauma, shame, or grief while your everyday self functions in the present, often entirely unaware of the hidden fragments. I can relate to that. I feel that most of us have to carry on in this manner in regard to making sure that we are pleasing in the eyes of society and what society expects of us, okay? So I feel like that is fitting in this sense when talking about the mechanism. So let's break down therapy. Frameworks like internal family systems. Let me break down what internal family systems is, which also stands for IFS, which is a form of psychotherapy developed by Richard C. Schwartz. Let's see what he developed here. It says it proposes that the mind is made up of different parts or personalities, each within its own feelings, beliefs, and motivations. So they've got an example here. All right. So imagine yourself thinking, oh, I should apply for this job. And then there's another part of your mind that says, don't do it, you'll fail. Okay? Or you may not get the job. And then there's another part of your mind that's saying, oh, just forget about the whole thing. Let's go watch TV or play some video games. I can so relate to that. I mean, how many of you can relate to that? Your mind just branching off like that? Because I just feel like it just gets overwhelmed, and then the lack of confidence sets in, the unworthiness sets in. I mean, just things that, again, can stem from childhood, right? All right, so healing. Okay, so they got a healing part in here, as we are always talking about healing on the channel. Healing involves acknowledging, understanding, and reintegrating these fragmented parts of yourself safely. All right, so let's look at the spiritual and shamanistic perspectives on this whole thing. In spiritual and shamanic traditions, this is frequently referred to as soul loss. Let's dig into the belief. When a person experiences shock, abuse, or sudden loss, a piece of their energy or vitality disconnects as a survival mechanism. I could definitely relate to that. Soul retrieval. Let's dig into this. This is an energetic practice designed to heal the individual by calling back or reintegrating those lost aspects of the soul. Okay, let's talk about some of the common signs and symptoms of a fragmented soul. While it manifests differently for everyone, the consensus across both psychological and spiritual communities points to a few common indicators. So let's look at some of these indicators. Inner conflict, feeling like different versions of yourself are consistently fighting. You're confident at work, but unworthy at home, or you feel unworthy at home. Emotional numbness, an inability to access certain emotions, of feeling chronically hollow, or disconnected. Okay, so let's dig into the memory gaps. It could be memory loss too, but because I said it, but memory gaps, let's dig into this. That means that you will be having periods of your life that feel blurred or very difficult to recall clearly. So let's dig into what feeling scattered brings about. So feeling scattered, it is a persistent sense that you are stretched thin and unable to be fully present in your own body. Definitely can relate to that as well, even to this day. All right, so self-directed daily practices. So we're going to talk about some daily practices, just a few examples that you can implement or start implementing, or you can do your own research on self-directed daily practices, or even guided practices, or even consulting with someone that can assist you if you're not into working alone on your own. So we've got journaling dialogues as one of the daily practices that you can implement. This includes you writing down a conversation between your current adult self and a part of you that feels hurt, angry, or lonely. Give that hidden part a voice without judging it. Okay, so that's journaling dialogues. Now let's go to body scanning. So body scanning is spending 5 minutes daily focusing on physical sensations from head to toe. This can reduce dissociation and anchors your awareness firmly back inside of your body. All right. Now let's talk about inner child visualization. Excuse me. So it says, close your eyes and imagine visiting a younger version of yourself during a difficult time. Offer that child a safety, comfort, and validation they missed out on when you were growing up. Okay, so that's going to be the inner child visualization. And then let's go to the last one here of one of the daily practices that's recommended. This is called mindful grounding. And it says use the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 technique when you feel scattered or overwhelmed. Okay, so how we do this. It says name 5 things you see. Okay. Then it says 4 things you touch. Then next it says 3 things you hear. Next it says 2 things you can smell. And 1 you taste to snap you back to the present. Okay, so that's the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 technique. And this again is called mindful grounding. I really, really like this one out of all the self-directed daily practices that are recommended, because I'm a self-taught, self-healing, DIY type of person. I do everything solo. I feel more comfortable that way. That's just, my personality and who I am. I'm not really comfortable working with another person. Part of that is because of the betrayals and the disappointments and the trauma that I've endured when dealing with other people. So I don't trust, and I am needing to work through that and currently working through that. So that is why I choose to do things alone. And I know there are a lot of people that feel the same way that I do. So I choose to do things solo. And so when I started my healing journey in 2023, but I went deep and made my list and started taking the steps seriously in August of 2023, I did it all alone. And of course, again, we're never alone. In this realm, we have our team that supports us, from the ethers and the other side. But in this realm, I didn't work with anyone. I worked alone. So, but with their support. So that's how I handled it. So I definitely, out of all of these, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. There's 4 of these self-directed daily practices that we can implement. I do like journaling too, because I love writing. So I'm going to say actually out of both of these, well, I don't know. I like this inner child visualization too, because visualizing or recalling things from my childhood, the pleasantries, I find that very refreshing too. And I do that from time to time, but I don't tend to do that too much. I do more fantasizing as an adult, like what I would like to come into fruition for my life, more than I do going back to my child and implementing this inner child visualization technique. But I'm definitely going to try the mindful grounding and the journaling dialogues. Again, the journaling dialogues is writing down a conversation between my current self and as an adult, and a part of myself that feels angry or lonely, and giving that part of myself that feels angry and lonely a voice. 191 as I'm saying this. 919 as I'm saying this. So, there's actually 2 that I seriously want to implement into my healing routine, right? So, this was a very intriguing subject. The fragmented soul. Just going about your day and just feeling like there's different pieces of you that is just spread out wherever they may be. And that there are just so many unanswered questions and so many parts of you that's just causing you to feel lost. And you feel spread thin because you have to be here and there and everywhere, and you have to do this and that and everything, and all by yourself. And for those of you that are like me, where you are pretty much solo on this journey, it can be difficult because you like to look over and say, hey, I've got this going on today, so and so and so, and it's like there's nobody there. So I mean, I do have a couple of people in my corner. I do, so I'm not completely alone, so that wouldn't be being honest. But for those of you that don't even have those couple of people in your life, you're not alone. You have me, okay? You have me. And I know that we can't, at this present time, have a one-on-one conversation, but I am here. You hear my voice. We're having this conversation now. 111 as I'm saying that. 112 as I'm saying that. 211 as I'm saying that. You have me. I'm going to open this door because it's getting hot, and hopefully that fly doesn't come back and start harassing me again. Because if so, he's going to get swatted. Okay? Because I don't like flies. I've told y'all that before. I cannot stand them. They are like spies, they just get on my nerves and very irritating. But anyway, I digress. But you guys have me on this channel. I'm hoping that those of you that have been tuning in and those of you that have decided to subscribe, I consider those of you that have subscribed a part of the family and the community here that I'm trying to build. So that we all can heal together. But I know it's difficult, when, you want to have that one-on-one conversation with someone and you can't because, they're just a face on a screen and through a recording. But you have your team, most importantly, I'm just used as a vessel to relay the messages and to be a source of support and encouragement in however way I'm being used on, a day-to-day or on the Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays that I come on here. That flies back. But the air feels good, so I'm going to leave the door open and just swat it away as we talk. 225, as I said that. We're already 20 minutes in. My goodness. Time, that's what I'm saying. Time just flies. But, those of you that feel alone, just lean more on your higher power source for support. That's what I did. And in doing that, when I called out to God and my guardian angels and my ancestors and ancient ancestors that have my best interest at heart. I don't just call on all my ancestors because they don't all have my best interest at heart. Some of our ancestors don't like us, so we need to be careful on who we're calling on. And I had to learn that the hard way early in my journey. You can't call on everybody. Just like in this realm, not everybody has your best interest at heart. Excuse me, I'm thirsty. So we have to be mindful of that. And when we're calling on support, we need to be specific in saying that we are seeking only the support of those that have our best interests at heart. No thank you to those that do not, because as we're healing, we don't need to add more stress and trauma and drama and issues to our case, that's going to make it more complicated to do our healing work, because that type of work is already complicated in itself, especially when there are moments where we just don't feel like we're going to make it, or that we're capable, or that we're going to be able to do it. And those are the moments that's going to show you really how deeply challenged you are going to be, because you're going to have to do something that you never thought that you would have to do, which is going deep, especially if you've just been used to dealing with things on the surface. And most of us, that have just been going on about life with that lost soul of ours, or that fragmented soul of ours. We've just been doing things surface level just to survive, right? Just doing absolutely what we have to, going home, eating, taking care of our chores, responsibilities, running our errands, doing what we have to do, going to sleep, waking up, and doing it all over again. And that is a vicious pattern of just existing. And again, I don't believe that life is meant to be lived that way. I believe that, we are to take the steps to build something truly beautiful for ourselves and our loved ones that we can take with us, because we cannot take everyone with us. Not everyone deserves to go along our journey with us when we are working toward getting to the part that we are healing for, in order to call it in, so that we can live a life filled with joy and peace and all these beautiful things that we always dreamed of and imagined that we did not have access to, because we were too busy hurting. We were too busy sitting in grief. We were too busy sitting in regret. We were too busy making decisions based on coming from a place of unworthiness and lack of confidence and lack of faith, and we've just created a nightmare of a life for ourselves because we didn't create a solid foundation, because we didn't know how to. And so when we flip the script and we do our healing work, and that shifts, changes, and we close that cycle of viciousness that provided our soul with absolutely nothing but poison, toxicity, and now we're calling in our heaven on earth, where we've done the healing work enough to where we can create this beautiful life where grief is no longer holding us back and holding us hostage, where sadness is not taking over our cause, and where, we have faith and hope, and we have a future that we can see and are actually partaking in, that has come into fruition because of the hard work that we put out to create a solid foundation. That is what the healing is for, to get to that part, if you so desire that, right? So, in recalling the fragmented pieces of our soul in whatever way that we are called to do that, and it will be different for each of us, that is where we begin to do the proper healing work in order to build that solid foundation, so that we can take hold of our heaven on earth. That's just what I believe. I don't know what you guys believe, but that is what I believe. And a fragmented soul, most definitely, in my opinion, is a lost soul. So I am going to keep doing my healing work so I can recall those lost, fragmented pieces of my soul. I need that. I want that. I so desire that. I don't feel that anybody deserves to have access to the lost pieces of my soul that's floating out there in the world. No, I mean, I need that. I need all those pieces, okay? I'm not interested. I'm selfish. I'm not interested in sharing my different parts of my soul that undeserving individuals have gained access to because of the unhealed parts and the shadow pieces of myself that are still needing some heavy work. And I feel that is how those undeserving individuals and energies have access to the fragmented parts of your soul, is because of the parts that have not been healed and the wounds that are still open. So let's keep doing our work so that we can recall those fragments of our souls and become whole, again. That is all that I have, though. Again, I hope that you all are doing whatever it is that is necessary. I'm just looking outside. I'm just kind of like daydreaming too. And I have completely forgotten about time. I'm not even thinking about it. I'm just enjoying just looking out at nature and listening to the birds. So my apologies if I seem like I'm just like not here. It's like I am here and I'm not here at the same time, because I'm just looking out at the trees and the sky. It is such a beautiful day. There's hardly any clouds in the sky today, but there are a few, and it's like a blue sky. It just reminds me of a sky from when I was a child. And I remember like when we were talking about my childhood, and I just remember when there were really hot days and I really wanted to get out and play in the playground, and my grandmother would say, "Oh, it's too hot, let's turn the air on," and I would be so disappointed and sad because I couldn't go outside that day, or whatever days it was, but it was really hot. I just remember there being really hot summer days around this time of year, and now it's not like that. It's like cooler now, but I would assume that's just with the changes, that have taken place within Mother Earth, over time, as she has taken some hits. Bless her heart. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. I definitely will. 323, as I said that. Let's keep working on recovering the lost fragments of our soul in whatever way we are going to do that. But we have each other. We are never really alone, even if we feel that we are. There are some people out there that understand you. And most importantly, the one that created you understands you. So you have that higher power to lean on to get you through. 332, as I said that, but I'm going to end it here. I'm not going to drag this out. I hope that you guys were able to learn something from what we discussed about the fragmented soul. I didn't plan on talking about that today, but that's what was placed on my desk to educate about today, and I learned a lot, and that was very informative. So Friday we will talk about the soul contract chart. That's what we'll talk about Friday. Because I wanted to make sure that I talked about that this week. So I want to dig into what that is. And then I'm going to dig into mine a little bit. And then that may encourage you all to dig into yours. Alright, so you guys have a great rest of your day, afternoon, night, morning. And I will see you guys on Friday. Alright? Love you guys. Take care of yourself. Be patient with yourself. This is a process, one day at a time. Alright? Love, peace, and grace.